After Mr. Yavlinsky, difficult to speak because, well, can speak a little bit about values theoretically, well, the way I understand it, and what I lived through, I'm going to share here. I'm liberal, essentially, I'm a liberal. It is me, my personality. But social liberalism is a dangerous thing, let's say. In my younger days, I thought that I will be able to form myself as an individual. But over the past 15 years, because of some reason, I came to the conclusion that I do form myself, but under the influence of what surrounds me, the cognitive environment that I am in as an individual. As mathematicians say, there's non-linear regularity there.
All the elements are interdependent, they are influencing each other, and that is why we see that a person is a social animal, a system within a system. Well, this is how we see the world, how I see the world. So I see the world as a world of social liberalism. Well, if you will disagree, I will bring some arguments. And, well, the thesis or the main idea is this. I believe that it is very important, fundamentally important to develop social liberalism, and we proceed from the idea that I proceed from the idea that a person can develop only in society. But this is my personal thesis, and what we see is one common space where the development of everyone participating in the development, every member of the society depends on equal rights and equal opportunities for the people. And here we see the establishment of the state. Well, we believe that only the state should be responsible for these things, for social protection and so on, but why not some other institutions? Who said that other institutions cannot participate in this? And, well, the government has to work out some rules and regulations, laws, and so on, to show that the government is active, and, well, there should be requirements to the government that are implementable within the system, when the government can take decisions on behalf of society. When we look for empirical criteria, well, we social liberals and, well, people of other layers support this idea. And, well, Mr. Hayek once said that the state is not only a tool of mitigating the external consequences, but the government provides public goods. And, well, here we're talking about the political side of the government. The government and civil society makes it possible to implement collective solutions in the name of the individual. And though the state is an equal subject to others in the political life of a country, the state is different from other agents, because we have to see to it that the government is useful socially. Well, this is a theoretical introduction, and now I would like to put a stress on something that is very important for me. I'm very interested in civil society and in bureaucracy as an idea. Well, and I'm talking about the expert community that I analyze. Well, the state and, well, the powers that be, I would call them in this way. And the civil society, I believe that these two parts of society are too large to bring them together under one umbrella, and I believe that here we should not forget about bureaucracy and the expert community. What is bureaucracy? Let me read out something that I wrote down. Bureaucracy is a rather independent social group of people who are professionally distributing power, doing administrative work, and they are united by a state interest, and they are socially oriented. Well, I wanted to underscore something that has to do with values and bureaucracy. Bureaucracies have existed, everything in ancient China, Egypt, the US, Europe, modern US, bureaucracies have always played a key role. Well, the state system may change, but the bureaucratic apparatus will always be in existence. And, bureaucracy works in the social sphere permanently. Bureaucrats have enough information, enough documents to do this, and they have every opportunity to adopt and interpret, I underscore, interpret government acts. I mean rules, regulations, laws, and so on. And this means that bureaucracy is unsinkable. And, bureaucracy is part of the government, of course, and as soon as there is a change, an empirical change in the parameters, for example, which will be officially recognized as a target in economic policy, bureaucrats always have a very good incentive to manipulate this criterion. And not to allow bureaucrats to do this, we need a second part, the expert community, which, as I believe, is part of the civil society. This expert community interests us because it's an institution that serves society. And, there are individuals that are part of this expert community. They study the problems in society, and then they set themselves targets that should be up to the interests, that should be related to the interests of the population. Experts should always analyze the actions of the government, should carry out socially acceptable practices in accordance with public interests. The expert community is a very good tool to fight corruption and arbitrary rule within the government, and I believe that experts are not just professionals, but they are people who carry out a cultural function. These people know a lot about their domain, and they can work out a recipe to get out of any difficult situation. Why am I talking about this? I believe that these two institutions, the state and the expert community, are the institutions that I'm very much interested in. Theoretically, I am looking at their system of checks and balances and at their interaction. I believe that in Russia the situation is the same as in Armenia. This is not happening. There is no interaction between the state and the expert community, and Mr. Yavlinsky told you why. It's because of the political fabric, so to say, in our societies, in Armenia and Russia, and there is a communications deficit between these two parts. Is dialogue possible between two institutions? That is the question. To start a dialogue, somebody said already, you have to recognize a problem. And this is something that our government is not doing. Well, I mean, our governments, the governments of Armenia and the government of Russia. Well, you have to recognize that there is a problem, and then people will start interacting. Well, a philosopher, Rigger, said that, well, my vision of the problem may be limited. Another person may have another view, another vision of this problem, but there are people who can understand something that I will not be capable of understanding more. Referring to experts, of course. This is the main idea of this approach. And if our leaders do not understand that the times they are changing and that times are now different from what we had in the past in Europe and Russia, we will never be able to resolve these problems, neither in Armenia nor in Russia. Thank you very much. That's it for the body of my presentation. Thank you very much. And